Hey everybody, well I'm back, and I am back with a ginormous book haul. I have been getting so many amazing books and have been a little bit behind, so I have a ton of amazing, and I'm gonna say amazing one more time, titles to tell you all about. I better get started so this video is not really long. Let's go. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. It is finally decided to get a little bit chillier up north. I think the high today was 69 or something, but most of the day it's in the low 60s, and when I get up in the morning it is in the 40s, which is very cold for me. So I am tired appropriately. I have gotten some more fallish weather options in my wardrobe. So I am happy and toasty and so glad to be here to share some titles with you. I have to say that 2021 has been amazing. I have said it over and over again, and I want to say thank you to every single publisher that has sent me every single book. I continue to try to read as many as I can, but I get to share all of them with you. So let's get out your pen, your paper, your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, please order a book or two from your local independent bookstore. You know, they're all saying get your orders into your bookstores early so you can get them in time for the holiday season. Now's the time. Now's the time, my friends. If you are a library user, get your library to order them for you as soon as possible. Now, this is sort of separated into two stacks. I have some books that came to me that were very close to coming out or have already come out already. And then I have a stack of books that are further out that are coming out later in the year or even into early next year. So you're going to want them all. I'm just going to tell you that. But the first book we're going to start with is it is so beautiful. And this is, hopefully I can catch this without a glare. This is Medusas Ankles by A.S. Byatt. This is a collection of A.S. Byatt's short fiction that is being put out from, I believe, across her writing career. Most people know A.S. Byatt for Possession. That novel, it won the Booker Award. It was turned into a film. I know many of us have read it. And this is a gorgeous collection of her short fiction. The introduction is written by David Mitchell, who you know I'm a huge fan of, and I just cannot do justice to this cover in my lighting. Can you see my ring light? But this is coming out from Knopf, and I think it's just come out, and it is beautiful. So if you love A.S. Byatt, if you love short fiction, this may be a way to end the year. So again, that's Medusas Ankles by A.S. Byatt, out now from Knopf. So Knopf has been so nice to me lately, so thank you, Knopf, for sending me great books. Speaking of being really nice to me, I had requested a book from Algonquin by an author that I really loved. We're going to talk about her second book actually later in this. And Algonquin reached out and said, hey, we have a couple of titles that we think that you'll really like. And they sent me 6 books. They sent me so many. I've read one, I am almost done with another, and I'm going to tell you about another right now. And this book just came out. This is Carrie the Dog by Stephanie Gangi. I'm hoping I say that right. And this came out at the beginning of November. Now, this is the story of Bee Seeger. Now, Bee is famous because of a collection of photographs her father took when she was very young called the Marks Nudes, which caused all sorts of hubbub when she was younger, and she sort of always had an issue sort of pushing that aside. But now she's an adult, and these, I think it's the Momo and another organization, Hollywood, have come calling. They want to know about these photos. They want to, you know, intervene in her life. And she needs to make this decision. Does she sort of keep the past in the past, keep the hurt away? Or does she sort of, I think the back says, monetize her trauma or something like that. And in that time, we learn a little bit about her. We learn that she's, you know, had this off again, on again relationship with this rocker, and she's living with a borrowed dog and a woman who may or may not be her sister, and she's trying to figure out what she wants to do with all of this. I think actually this sounds really interesting. It kind of gives me like vibes of, oh, what's that book? The Family Thing maybe a little bit. I don't know, but that's just sort of in my head. So that's Carrie the Dog by Stephanie Gangi, out from Algonquin Books, and it came out, I want to say, last week, so you can get your hands on it. Another book that just came out is The Other Man by Farhad J. Dadyburjor, and I'm so sorry. I'm trying to... I say daddy because that's what it sort of looks like, but that's probably not right, and I apologize. This is out from Lake Union. This is the story of a 38-year-old Indian man who is a closeted gay man, and he has just gotten out of a relationship, and his mother and his parents are really sort of pushing him, and they decide, and he agrees to an arranged marriage to a very, very lovely woman. He's sort of, this is what his life is going to be, and this is what he's going to do to move forward. And then, of course, he meets a man. He meets an American man named Carlos, I believe, on a business trip in India. And of course, everything is going to change, right? Of course. I think this book is going to be very interesting. I hope it's charming. I actually think the cover is rather charming. So this is out from Lake Union, The Other Man by Farhad J. Dadyburjor. And I wish I could say that as beautifully as someone would be able to. So get your hands on that. That sounds like a lot of people would really like it. It sounds like just a good read. I think that's fair to say. How about you? The next book I want to tell you about is Ann Patchett, who needs no introduction. She just had this collection of essays come out called These Precious Days. Now, I'm going to read what she's written from the introduction on the back, because it was really this sentence and this sentence alone that drove me to want to read this collection. It says, and again, as she was writing these, I was asking what mattered most in this precarious and precious life. I could watch myself grappling with the same themes in my writing and in my life, what I needed, whom I loved, what I could let go, and how much energy the letting go would take. I think it's always interesting to think about things like letting go or being angry and how much energy we put into that type of stuff and what's the reward for that energy output. And if anyone's going to talk about it in a way, and it's such a beautiful cover, it's going to be Ann Patchett. So that's These Precious Days by Ann Patchett. This just came out from Harper. So thank you very much, Harper. I got that copy. I'm super excited. Also, just coming out, I think I'm doing some short story collections today, y'all. You're going to get, for those of you who really like short story collections, this is John Edgar's Wideman stories, Look for Me and I'll Be Gone, out from Scribner. So I didn't know John Edgar before this book hit my shelf, but he has been prolific. And his first story collection, I believe, came out 40 years ago. And it says here that he focuses on themes of career, life, loss, family, the penal system, Pittsburgh, art, memory, all of that kind of stuff. I started the first story in this. Definitely going to be a really good collection. So this is John Edgar. You know what? I just realized that his name is John Edgar Wideman. That's what happens when you're going too fast. John Edward Wideman's stories, Look for Me and I'll Be Gone. Sometimes, y'all, doing these things at the end of a long work day when you've worked 12 hours, not always the smartest thing. So John Edgar Wideman's short story collection, Look for Me and I'll Be Gone. See? Anyone can do YouTube. You can make total mistakes and everything is funny and you just move on. Another very small book that came out, but I think sounds amazing and very powerful, is this beautiful, beautiful book, Somebody Loves You by Mona Arshi, and I'm sure that that's said much more beautifully by someone other than me. This is the story of Ruby. She's a young girl who gives up talking at a young age. And her mother doesn't always notice. Her mother is not always present. And it says here, silence becomes Ruby's refuge, sheltering her from the weather of her mother's mental illness and a pressurized suburban atmosphere. This one's told in like little sort of snippets. I don't even know what we call this style, but like these little flash fiction moments throughout. I've started this one. It's very, very beautiful. Mona is a poet, I believe, by trade, and I think you can totally see that in her writing. So that, and I want to say thank you very, very much to other Goodness gracious. And other stories. I always forget if there's an and at the start of this publishing house's name. And other stories. This is the first book I've ever gotten from them. I want to say thank you very, very much. I want to say how beautiful this book is, and everyone should read Somebody Loves You by Mona Arshi, out now from And Other Stories. Okay, one book that was one of my most anticipated reads, and it's just arrived, and it comes out in December. Let me see if I have an actual date here. I know it's December 2021. I don't see a date on this other than December. And that is Beasts of a Little Land by Juhea Kim. Am I saying that right? This is a book set in Korea, set around the Korean independence movement. So it starts with, and this is the part that I've read so far. So it starts with in like 1917 in the mountains of occupied Korea. This local hunter saves this Japanese officer from a tiger attack. And it sort of loops their two lives together. It says for half a century on the back. And then our main character is a young girl who is sold into a courtesan school, and sort of that's going to dictate the life she has. And she becomes very good friends with a young boy who begs for his living on the street. And then later, as their friendship grows and develops, they get older, he becomes involved in the Korean independence movement. I have a feeling, let's just say it right here, I'm going to learn a ton. A lot of historical stuff, a lot of stuff I don't know. I also just feel like this book is probably going to put me through the ringer. That's like a phrase I've been using a lot lately, so if you hear it too much, I apologize. But I think, one, this cover is beautiful. One, I love Ecco, and I think this book sounds fantastic. Beasts of a Little Land by Juhea Kim, out in December of 2021. Okay. One of my 2022 most anticipated reads, and when this book came, I was so excited, and it came in this most beautiful box. This is the new Hana Yanagihara To Paradise, out from Doubleday. It comes out, I want to say January 11th. Yes, January 11th. Now, this is another one of those books that's told in 3 different time periods, which is a little bit difficult to sort of summarize on the fly. So you're going to get to hear me read a little bit. But it says, in an alternate version of 1893 America, New York, in part of the free states where people may live with or love whomever they please, or so it seems, the fragile young scion of a distinguished family resists betrothal to a worthy suitor, drawn to a charming music teacher of no means. In a 1993 Manhattan besieged by the AIDS epidemic, a young Hawaiian man lives with his much older, wealthier partner, hiding his troubled childhood and the fate of his father. And in 2093, in the world riven by plagues and governed by totalitarian rule, a powerful scientist's damaged granddaughter tries to navigate life without him and solve the mystery of her husband's disappearance. So all 3 of these sections clearly are eventually going to somehow intertwine. I trust that Hana Yanagihara is, she always tears my heart out a bit, and I've always loved everything I've read by her. I've read both of her other novels, so I'm super excited about this. I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's going to be compared to A Little Life. I think we have to allow A Little Life to live in its own zone. It's going to be very different, but I'm interested to see what she decided to do next. So, To Paradise by Hana Yanagihara, out from Doubleday on January 11th, 2022. Can you believe we're already talking about 2022? If I have another stack of books that have come in so that this video isn't too long, and all of them are out in 2022, if you can believe that. So, Tor.com always sends me such amazing books, and this is Goliath by Tochi Owenbuchi, and this is coming out again also in January of 2021. I don't know if I have an exact date. Hold on. I'm sorry, January 2022. I don't have an exact date. But this is set just slightly in the future, 2050s. And people are leaving Earth en masse. People are leaving the big cities for space. And then what's going on Earth are people are just pillaging. They're just taking apart what is left, what resources are left on the planet Earth. And what happens is Tochi decides to tell us the story of all of these different people in different parts of this. People in the space that have evacuated to space, people that are on the planet. He always deals with very current themes, but always in such a super cool science fiction-y way. So this is Goliath by Tochi Onyenbuchi, out from Tor.com in January of 2021. Okay. I only have 2 left to tell you about, so I'm gonna do my best. This one I've actually already read. This is Clean Air by Sarah Blake. Now, Nama, which was her debut fiction, I absolutely loved and could not be any different than this one. This one comes out on February 8th, 2022. I will tell you, I read this book in a day. So this is a dystopian thriller. So the dystopian part of it is the world has been taken over by the fact that all of the trees produce massive amounts of pollen that make it absolutely impossible to breathe outside air. So thousands and thousands of people have died. But the people who survive are now in these civilizations that are pocketed. You have to wear masks all the time when you go out. The only time you can be without them is inside these little bubbles. But we've sort of moved on. And at the heart of this book is a woman and her child and her husband who live in this house, and then all of a sudden these serial murders start to happen. And they haven't had a lot of trauma since what they call the turning. They haven't had a lot of violence because everyone's been surviving what has been going on. But someone is going around cutting holes and killing families. And the young girl, the daughter, is having conversations in her sleep with someone and is recognizing what the killer is doing. All of that comes together. I really enjoyed this book. I do think that it could have been a little bit longer in explaining how the daughter's connection caused these conversations, only in that I just wanted to know more. And I also thought it wrapped up just a little too quickly. I wanted more. And I think that all I'm saying is I wanted more, but I totally enjoyed it. So this is Clean Air by Sarah Blake. Totally support her. She's so fantastic. Super enjoyable. Read it. You'll read it in a day, I promise. Oh, and that's out from Algonquin. This was the one I requested, and then I got the other books. And it's really good. Okay. Last but not least is another Tor.com book, and that is Redwood Wildfire by Andrea Hairston. And this book sounds really interesting. So this is about 2 people. We're at the turn of the 20th century. We have Redwood, who is an African-American woman, and Aiden, who is a Seminole Irish man. And they're on a journey from Georgia to Chicago, and from haunted swamplands to the cities of the future. Now, they are gifted performers, but they are also hoodoo conjurers. And it says here, struggling to come to terms with their very own personal trauma while calling up the wondrous world they imagine, on stage and screen, on city streets, and in front of parlors and wounded hearts. The power of hoodoo is the power of the community that believes in its capacity to heal. In a system stacked against them, Redwood and Aiden's power and talent are torment and joy, born of determination to find their place in the world. So I think that sounds excellent. You know, I always love a good sort of traveling sci-fi fantasy sort of epic-y thing. I know that was very specific and scientific. So Redwood Wildfire. This one actually comes out in February of 22 as well. Do I have an exact date? Let me do it. Just says February of 22. So I'm not going to try to hold these all up because I would drop them all. I dropped them just trying to organize them to start this video. I hope you all really like these books. I hope this eclectic collection of novels winds up on your TBR as soon as possible. Thank you so much. I know I'm behind on comments. I totally apologize. I have been working a ton, and when I get off, I just sort of run right into either reading or family life. So there you go. As always, if you are a return subscriber, thank you so very much. If you are new to my channel, I hope that you subscribe, hit that bell. It really helps me out, helps me grow my channel. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Goodbye, everyone.